We are. Oh man, I can't wait for this because I know my boy. Where's that schedule? Here it is. I know my boy Philly.500 is a Saquon Barkley fan.
Of course.
He thinks this is going to kill it.
Gonna crush it. Gonna crush it this year, Sills. Big Sills. Saquon Barkley's the real deal, man. And he's coming. And he's coming. Pause, no D, whatever you want to say. I think Barkley's gonna have a monster year. I do. Absolutely.
Oh, how about this one then? Yeah, that's Mark Holmes.
Yeah. Well, Mark's in his he's in his safe house right now.
Hold on, no, you're right, because what you did, you beat him up so bad he didn't want to come on this week.
Yeah, and he made the big deal about going to Philly and I have to come to Philly. He bailed out on it. He said it was in December, he ain't going. So I said, all right, I'm off the hook. Leave me alone. But he's in a safe house. He's in a safe house in Vermont somewhere.
You beat him up.
He's hiding.
Okay. Here's some numbers on Barkley. So Barkley's missed 26% of his career. He's only played a full season twice in 6 years.
Okay.
You don't have Kelsey. Has he ever
trying really hard here? You're trying really hard to find an excuse on why.
No. He's missed 26% of his career.
Yeah, but that's an overrated statistic or point, and I'm going to tell you why. Because if you look at what he's done the last 3 years, he's been relatively healthy, right? And one of his biggest years, he basically carried the Giants to the second round of the playoffs, and that was 2 years ago. So he's 2 years removed from playing every game in which he had over 1,300 yards, takes the Giants and that offense that had nothing to the playoffs. So I think that he's.
Then why did the Giants walk on him?
Well, because the Giants are dumb. I mean, here's the problem. You don't get a Saquon Barkley, when you're rebuilding your team, Sills. That's not when you go and you get a running back like that. You get a running back when he's going to put the rest of the team is already built and he's the final piece, or he's one of the final pieces. I will say this. Go look at Christian McCaffrey going to the 49ers. Would you say that's a good trade?
Yes.
Okay, well, Christian McCaffrey played 16 games in 3 years with Carolina before he went to San Francisco, and he's been relatively healthy.
So you're saying better talent in Philly will diminish that number of missed games?
Well, I'm also saying that sometimes injuries happen, and sometimes you go through it early in your career. That doesn't mean late in your career. I've gotten 3 years where he's been relatively healthy and on the field. So I feel confident. Whereas you look at a guy like Christian McCaffrey, the Eagles wanted him too. And he had only played 16 games, I think, in 3 years with Carolina before getting traded. So I'm saying it's not the end-all, be-all that he was injured earlier in his career. I would be much more worried if it was the last 2.
And to your point, 4 of those 6, he did go over a C note. He did go over $1,000. So, right. I mean, 4 of the 6 here. All right. The schedule. What was your takeaway of it?
Yeah, I mean, it's guessing the schedule is like this time of year is I just look at it as more of a fun exercise to do. It's really hard because how many times do we say this is a tough game, then you get to the season and it's not. I like it for the most part. I'll tell you, I'm gonna be straight up with you. I'm just glad there's no Christmas Eve or Christmas games or anything like that, so I can just enjoy my holiday. I hate the first week of the season. I hate that game. And I don't care for the bye week. But other than that, I think it's a pretty manageable schedule for the Eagles.
I hate the bye too. I'd like to have seen that bye more around 8 and 10. But here's something that becomes significant when you look at the first 13 weeks of the season. 1, 2, 3, only 4 times in those 13 games are they home. So the majority of the games are going to be on the road, and you're going to hope the depth of your football team, because as you know, when you're going to win a championship, and what made 22 so good was the fact that they were able to withstand the war of attrition. And one of the craziest stats I ever saw in my life, week 1 versus the Super Bowl, all 22 of the starters that were in week 1 started that Super Bowl. So
Right.
when you look at where they are right now, 500, I mean, again, there's going to be a lot of traveling in those first 13 weeks.
Yeah, a lot of traveling. A lot of traveling. I'm sorry, I got distracted with this stupid chat. I see this saying I have a big neck or some shit like that. Who cares? Give me another hot dog. Give me another hamburger. Yeah.
Since when do we have fashion consultants and
They're worried
weight
about my
management people in here?
chin. You should see the 3 in the back of my head. You think I care?
Hey, dude, I do dig the hat though, man. I love the lid.
Yeah,
Hey,
thank you.
let me get this. If this is a little bit too much for some of you light pansy asses, and you got the 2 big fellas in the room, this may not be somebody. You need to go to that seance they put on at IP in the afternoon over there with those 2 lightweights. You're hanging with the big boys now.
Go Starbucks, have your little soy latte. Go ahead. Get that.
Soy latte.
No, I mean, listen, the Eagles, they travel on the road early, right? 3 out of the first 4 weeks, and then they get a bye week. I think the teams are playing. I think they can win all those games. I'll be honest with you. Except for the Green Bay game is the game that really, really scares me. I just don't like that. That's a really good team who I think arguably has had one of the best off seasons in the league, and you're not having the advantage of playing them at home. So I don't like that one. That's what I don't like.
I like the addition of Xavier McKinney and also with Josh Jacobs going up there to Green Bay. I think that's going to help that football team a lot.
I agree with you. I think we stole DeJean from them, which was kind of cool. But then they wind up getting what's his phrase, Cooper, right? So I mean, I think they're a good team. I think they're one of the top 4 teams in the conference. So I think that's a really interesting game, because if you come away with that game, I think every other game up to week 5 is, I think they can win. Even the Buccaneers game, still. Even the Bucs.
Oh no, I got you at 9-8 in this thing here.
9-8.
9-8. 9-8. 9-8.
No,
hey,
man, that's about 7 games off.
wait. What do you think they're going 16-1?
No, I think between 12 and 14 wins.
Wait a minute. Where in the world have you upgraded on defense?
Oh, what are you talking about? I now have a legit safety turnover playmaker in C.J. Gardner-Johnson. C.J. Gardner-Johnson. That's an upgrade.
They're talking about putting Cooper DeJean or the white fella from Iowa in there. That's what they're talking about.
You put him next to the other white. In front of the other white guy. You put him in front of Reed. You keep C.J. Gardner-Johnson on the field. He's an upgrade, so I've upgraded that position, and that's a dramatic position to upgrade. That was a humongous loss, losing him. The linebacking position, just by getting Devin White, is an upgrade.
Oh, my God. So the Buccaneers trash is an upgrade.
Listen, do you know how bad those linebackers were? There are legitimately high school teams here who were better at linebacker than us last year. So even if he struggled or he isn't what he was, if he's 80% of what he was, 70%, he's a significant upgrade over last year, just by default.
Shut up, Twin.
Is he not? The only position that I worry
was better.
He was. He got cut. He got cut during the end of preseason. They brought him back. Listen, Devin White has shown me in the past he can play in this league. I have to believe that. So I don't think it's such a low risk, high reward move. But he's better than any linebacker we had last year. Better than any.
500, make him wear a brown jersey. He won't bet me. A brown jersey? Hang on here, man. Relax. So wait a minute. What about Nakobe Dean? Are you sold on him?
No, I'm not. I'm not sold on Nakobe. Well, for the time being. Well, listen, I hope that week 1 He goes in there and he shows he can play, and he actually stays healthy. I'd like him to stay healthy, but I tell you what, I'm a big Jeremiah Trotter Jr. guy. I think by end of the year he's coming in and he's going to play, and he's going to play well.
That guy's as fast as you. He runs a 5 flat.
I'm not worried about what he ran, what 40 he ran. I don't care about that. When he plays and they snap the ball, how's he going to be? Listen. I think that linebacker is always an issue with the Eagles, right? It always is. But if you're talking about just an upgrade to this position, you can't tell me Devin White isn't better than anything they had last year. He just is.
All right, let's go here to Wishbone Hurts. Hey, what kind of year are you suggesting Wishbone has this year? I mean, what's a successful year for you this year?
I don't know. I think I always think of it in more teams terms. So I always think if they get to this point, they get to that point. I think Hurts. I think he needs to be a little bit better, especially with the turnovers than he was last year. So I expect a little bit more like 2 years ago is what I'm hoping. I'm hoping that he takes another step in the passing game. And I hope that the good coaching and adding coaches that know what they're doing will actually help him in situations as where it looked like, they didn't know what to do for him last year. And I think the Barkley addition is huge.
How about this? In the last 3 years, Wishbone has led the NFL in rushing touchdowns over Derrick Henry, James Conner, over Austin Eckler, and over Josh Jacobs. No quarterback is on that list but your boy. Dude.
Well, yeah, but we know why that is.
Well, I'm going to say one thing here, and I think you hit on it. To me, it's really, and all kidding aside, it's not really about 30 touchdowns. It really is about the less turnovers. You know what? Wouldn't you much rather have him do this? 25 passing touchdowns, nine picks versus 35 touchdowns and 13 picks.
Yeah. I'm gonna go on a limb here. I'm gonna give you something that you're gonna think I'm really delusional. You ready for it?
Yeah.
30 touchdown passes this year.
Never happened.
30 touchdown passes.
He'll never throw 30 touchdowns.
He's going to hit 30 touchdown passes this year.
He'll never do that.
His rushing touchdowns are going to come down, and he's going to he's going to throw for 30. There you go. You heard it here first on Big
Okay, wait. So how many touches does Barkley get? You're going to give Barkley 250 carries?
I think Barkley carries or touches, because I see you using Barkley much more also in the passing game than just rushing. I don't know that they'll give him 300 carries. I'll tell you what, though, I would give him 250 carries. I definitely would. But I think where he's going to be really valuable for the Eagles is in that passing game. I mean, there are just so many times last year I'm watching Sills where it's like, why don't you run a screen to the running back? They're blitzing, they're bringing everybody. If you just dump it to that running back, there's nobody around. I think Barkley creates that danger for them, and I'm hoping Kellen Moore will take advantage of that.
Do you agree the first 4 games of the Eagles season is going to dictate the future of Nick Sirianni?
Without question. I think I was trying to figure this out today in a video I was doing. If he starts, I'll say 2-4, I think he's gone. I don't think he makes it through the year, because I think they like Kellen Moore. They like them, almost hired him, right? And then you have that 21. Whole Belichick. Then you have the whole Belichick aspect I heard you talking about when I was driving over here to come on. They talked to him this offseason, so they thought about it. So I think he's got to start off good or he's in trouble.
See, and I agree. And this is where I go with you on this one here. Check it out. Last year they showed you that after 12 games, they were willing in season to make a move off of a D coordinator. How committed to you do you think the Eagles are in making that decision when it comes to how fast they would do it? Would they wait to the end of the year? Would they just make him a lame duck? I mean, How would they handle this? Would they reassign him and then name Kellen the interim to see how he handles that play calling?
I don't know. See, I think the whole Kellen Moore situation plays a lot into this too, because let's say Kellen Moore goes out and has a great year as a coordinator, then he's gone. I mean, he's gone. He's going to take a coaching job somewhere most likely, and now you're changing offensive coordinators again. So if they're like, we really want to keep him, it may be a situation where if they come out of the gate and they're struggling, but the offense is scoring points and looking okay, they may just cut ties right there with them. So I think the Kellen Moore factor plays into this somewhat.
Couple last questions here for you. All right. Who has a better year, Devontae or A.J. Owens?
Devontae. I think Devontae goes to the next level this year. Yeah. I think A.J. Brown's going to do what A.J. Brown does. But I think Devontae Smith takes a jump from this past year from last year. So I think his stats are improving.
Help me out on this thing here. So you obviously think Jalen Hurts is a better quarterback than Carson Wentz was.
He's a better winner than Carson Wentz was, yes. What are we talking about? Are we talking
That's
about
good.
Quarterback in general?
Really? Okay, no. Who was the better skilled quarterback, Wentz or Hurts?
When it came to like just pure quarterback throwing the ball, it was Wentz. He had a much bigger arm, and he was big. I mean, he was the third pick overall for a reason. However, that's not all what it takes to be a quarterback. When you look at just being a quarterback, being a leader, winning games, being available, it's Jalen Hurts by a long shot.
Here's why I'm going here. Hang on. Here's James Sills. For tour records of 36 successful tush pushes, only numbers 9, 11, 12, 15, 20, 20. Okay. Did not go over Landon's and Mulata's. One over Cam directly. NFL keeps it or leave it. Every successful tush push. James, I'm going to make a point to you, and I thank you very much. They had the same success with Carson Wentz at the tush push too. And there's one common denominator, and that was Jason Kelce. Do you think the tush push goes away?
No.
Philly.500, do you think that thing is still going to be an integral part? And it's not just Jalen Hurts, dude. Carson Wentz was successful with it.
No, I mean, I think Kelce had a lot to do with it. I don't think it's going away. And I will say this. I mean, I think it's hard to say you have a Hall of Fame center that goes and you don't feel that in some aspect. So I'll say, yeah, maybe it's not as successful, but what? You're going to go from what, like 90% to like 78, 80%? It's still going to be work most of the time.
Here's where I was going with the Wentz stuff. Carson Wentz had nobody on his football team when he was throwing the ball for $4,000 and 300 or 30 touchdowns a year. This kid has everything around him and can't throw for 3,900. Right. Why am I going to sit here? And I believe they coach both guys the same way after they both got hurt. After Wentz got hurt, they stopped him running. And now after the Chicago game and what they saw in 2022, they're coaching him a different way like they did in 23. I think they're sending him in the same direction. Now, look, I agree with you. Is he a different, more mentally tougher guy? He still needs to work on some shit when it comes to his leadership too. But still, is he better? By far. But the Eagle organization is once again miscoaching him. Dude, why would you take the element of what made you great in 22 away and think you can win Super Bowls from the pocket when you paid for that? And the same thing with Wentz. After Los Angeles, he was never the same guy. They made him try to win Super Bowls from the pocket, and he couldn't do it. That's not who he is. And the same common denominator is the front office bringing in a coordinator. You keep telling me, Philly, that Kellen Moore is going to be a great addition to Jalen Hurts. What RPO quarterback did he ever coach in his career? None. The most he ever ran in 1 year was 36 times. What are we talking about?
Well, they're obviously. I think they're going to continue to go away from it because the way they look at it is they paid him a lot of money. They don't want him to get hurt and that's just the way it's going to be. So he's going to have to develop, into a better passer. That's something he's got to do. Do I think he's capable of it? I do think he's capable of it. I do think he can be better. I think that last year was just it's so hard. How do you gauge anything off of last year when the collapse was so bad and historic and the way things happened? Like, for example, I heard you talk about Tampa Bay and them playing Tampa Bay. They couldn't beat Tampa Bay last year in the playoffs. They wouldn't have beaten a high school team in the playoffs. They quit. They were done. I don't know how you evaluate where Jalen Hurts is after last year when that collapse and what happened with the coaching staff. So I feel like I'll have a much better gauge after this year on whether I think he can take that next step as a passer. I just do. But I'll tell you this, and I truly believe this, and a lot of people would disagree with me, if Carson Wentz plays that whole year that we won the Super Bowl, he's going to lose in the playoffs. I don't believe he puts up the numbers that Nick Foles did in the Super Bowl because I don't think he could do it up here.
That's what Angelo says, too. He doesn't believe that if Wentz had played the whole season, that they win in the playoffs and that he wins the Super Bowl. But to your point, you go like this. Well, how can you evaluate anything? Well, the Eagles did. They gave everybody pay raises.
Well, I mean, they did to a certain level. Who are the guys that they gave pay raises? There are a lot of the young guys, a lot of the draft picks. I mean, that's what you're supposed to do. I think the one guy that I will say earned his money was Devontae Smith. Devontae Smith was the only guy that showed up and paid last year. And I think that Devontae Smith, I think the A.J. Brown contract isn't because A.J. Brown was being selfish or crying. I think it was because Devontae Smith, being such a team player,
oh God,
took a contract. No, Devontae Smith. Listen, Devontae Smith was a team player and took a lot less money than he could have gotten. He could have waited for all those other people to sign contracts and it got a lot more. He took lesser money. That's right. He took lesser money that opened the door to A.J. Brown because of his unselfishness and because Devontae Smith is a team player. Yes, A.J. Brown is now an Eagle long-term.
You hear this guy between Xander and now him. Holy cow, these guys are taking shots at me. Are you crazy, team player? What are you talking about?
You don't think Devontae Smith's a team player?
Oh, I do. I think he is. I think that other guy on the other side.
No. I'm talking about Devontae Smith.
Okay, Devontae's a team player.
He
the other
took
guy's
lesser
a whiner.
money. He took lesser money to go and stay with the Eagles. He could have waited for other team players. So I think that is why A.J. Brown was able to be redone. Not because A.J. Brown was crying like that. I like A.J. I think A.J. Brown's awesome.
We can see everybody getting more money than me. What the? I mean, dude, seriously, man. Act like a man.
Yeah, I hear you.
Dude, I mean, that guy, wait a minute. You don't really think A.J. Brown gives a shit about winning?
I do. Of course I do.
Oh, yeah. My God.
Here's why
he had a career year and the team had a career meltdown.
Listen, and what did he do? He was the only guy trying.
He was in Atlantic City with the Hoochie Mamas at a bar, at a titty bar up in Atlantic City.
I didn't see that. I didn't see anything about that. I don't know nothing about that. That's the first I heard of that.
And well, he's up in Atlantic City up there hanging out with the Hoochie Mamas going like this. How come my team down in Tampa? What happened? He couldn't be down there with them? There's strip clubs down on Dale Mabry.
Well, why did they want him to go? I don't know. Maybe because it was a knee injury or something. I don't know. But all I'm saying is if you look at A.J. Brown, I think A.J. Brown went to the coaches. I think he tried to talk to those coaches. I think they told him that we do what we do. And he was like, well, there's nothing I can say. There's nothing I can do. I think A.J. Brown gets a bad rap. I really, really do.
Listen, he's a great player. He's a great player. And he fits the mold of all the crybabies. He just does. I mean, and get this, 1,500 yards, 100 catches, 70. He's absolutely been better than I thought he was going to be when they got him from Tennessee. Because you remember, right, Philly, remember when he was in Tennessee, 63 to 68 catches. It was nothing spectacular. 1,100 yards,
Right.
1,000
Right.
yards. You know, I mean, they were like Hunter Renfro numbers. He
And
gets
he's the
here, he
perfect
ups it.
example. And he's the perfect example on why you're going to see such a difference with Saquon Barkley, too, because he played in a team with not really a great offense. It was dictated by the run game. As soon as he got his opportunity, he shined. Well, Barkley played with such a bad team around him, so many bad players on offense. Now he's going where he's got talent around him. I think he's a big year. I mean, just remember when it comes to Barkley, Giants don't get to the second round of the playoffs if Barkley doesn't have the year yet.
That
Barkley
was
carried that
Dines
offense.
Jones. Come on, man.
Oh, come on. Yeah, right. I mean, come on. That's a whole nother thing.
No, I can't.
Daniel
One last
Jones.
thing here. Let's do Gooby here. Xander, put Gooby up here. AJ Brown is the reason why Jalen became so good. Look at Jalen's stats before and after AJ. Fans don't like the facsimils without AJ. Jalen's average.
Yeah.
He's
Okay.
wishbone hurts.
So who throws the ball to AJ Brown?
He can't get over $4,000.
Come on. What did he have last year? What did he have?
38.90 or something.
So you think that he can't throw an extra 120 yards?
No.
It's impossible. He's 120 yards more. He can. That's one. You get like 3 penalties less. He's got it. Over 4,000 yards.
Got 2 1,000-yard receivers and threw for 4,600 yards.
He's 120 yards more.
Why hasn't he done it?
He can't throw for 4,000 yards. He's got 3,999. Come on, Sills.
Wishbone hurts.
Nah, Hurts going to throw for over 4,000.
Wildcat quarterback. He's a wildcat.
Nah,
Dude,
I think you're wrong.
You keep hanging on a guy who's only had 1 year?
I have a question for you. I got a question for you because I'm wondering this. It seems like you have a problem every time somebody but Mahomes or Josh Allen get extended. So is your theory, is your philosophy with these young quarterbacks that when they're in the rookie contracts, you don't sign them to an extension?
No, my point is I want to see a little more consistency than 17 games.
So
this thing coming up with Jordan Love, I'm signing him to his contract extension. I'm signing him to the option. I'm not giving him $55 million. I'm not CJ Stroud. Do I think CJ Stroud looks like he could become a superstar quarterback? Mm-hmm. Yes, but I want to see him do it again. I want to see what makes people great in our league is being consistent,
right,
and showing consistency, not having 1 year blimps. Now, watch this. Do I think Jalen Hurts is going to be 2023? No. But do I think Jalen Hurts is going to be 2022? No. So who is he then, Philly?
I think
he's somewhere in the middle.
Probably somewhere in the middle.
Is that good enough?
Yeah, it should be. Yeah. Why not? He almost won the MVP that year. He almost won. Hell, man, the first 11 weeks of the season, he was leading to be the MVP last year. So, to me, yeah, I think it's good enough. And I don't know that I agree with you in that he can't ever be 2023. He may not be the runner or put up the run stats, but I do believe he can develop into a better passer. I don't understand why that can't happen. Players have done that before. You look at Steve Young developed a passer. Randall Cunningham was a much better thrower later in his career. I think he can develop. He can continue, but he needs good coaching and he needs to put the work in, which we know he'll do. So, I mean, I get what you're saying about the quarterbacks. You do need consistency, but that's a risk because if you wait another year and they have a great year, it's only going to cost you that much more. I mean, look at the Cowboys. I mean, what are they doing with Dak Prescott? I mean, quarterbacks keep signing huge contracts, and Dak's price is just going way, way up.
I'll ask you this last question. Do you think they signed Jalen Hurts too soon? Yes or no?
No.
Ugh.
No. I think for the amount of money you pay a quarterback, and I think, for what they're making and how much the price goes up, I think there's a little bit of, a risk involved where you've got to kind of say, all right, we believe he could do this going forward, and you got to take a shot. And it doesn't always work out. It didn't work out with Wentz. I'm not saying it always works out, but I mean, it's just a big difference if you wait. I mean, how much, if they would have said, all right, we're not paying Hurts last year, we're going to wait till after this season, let's say. I mean, you know how much more that's going to cost you? So I think you've got it when it comes to quarterback. I think
I wouldn't have paid him after 23. If I would have put 22 and 23 together and his contract was up and it was time to talk,
right,
I'd be looking at somewhere.
So now
he's not as accomplished. He's not as accomplished as Goff.
So right now, well, Goff has been to a couple Super Bowls, right? Or
he's
one
been to a Super Bowl. He's been to 3 NFC championships.
Okay,
and he's won 1 NFC championship.
But right now,
4 Pro Bowls.
But if you play that out, then you're saying that right now Hurts would not even be we would have a brand new quarterback, because he would have either had to be franchised, which would have cost a ton of money, or he would have been a free agent. So I mean, you know
what really put them in a bind was him being a second rounder, because they didn't have a 5th-year option.
Right, that does, yeah, it's true.
They had to negotiate a contract with him because they didn't have that 5th-year option to lean on.
Yeah. And that's what, that's what I like what Houston's doing, because I think they're taking advantage of as quickly as possible. There's no doubt about it.
All right, Philly, tell folks how they can find you. Awesome
Just
stuff.
Just type in Philly.500 and I should come up.
How about this, dude? You ran off Mark Holmes, man.
I know.
He's in a safe house now, somewhere in the Gaza Strip.
He's in Vermont.
He's hanging.
Equalizer 4. Come on.
He's at the beach house.
Yeah.
He's at the beach house and Equalizer 4.
He said no mas. He don't want nothing.
Oh, man. We'll see what happens next week, man. Philly, thank you so much,
all right,
my
man.
friend.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
You are absolutely awesome, man. Fantastic stuff there, man. Last 2 days. Holy shit, Xander, now this guy telling me how Saquon, oh, Madon, man. Did you hear Philly too? 12, 13, 14, 15 wins? Holy cow. I got 9. Yeah, I got 9, man. All right. Where are we? Hey, we're behind, man. Xander, where are we right now in the likes count? Where are we in this thing here? 164. Holy shit, we're so far behind. The legendary Philly Godfather is going to join us. Guys, let's get to 250, man. I'm drastically behind it. We only have an hour left. Let's get to 250. I need your help here. Please hit the like button. Hey, Senor, you ran Mark Holmes out. I don't know if he's going to be a show next Wednesday. I don't know if he shows up. I don't know, man. I think you guys ran. Hey, is this what you did to Josh Innes? Hey, Prince, don't worry about it, sonny boy. Unlike you, one thing this team and this show won't do like your Eagles did last year, we won't take a knee. You see, your team took a knee. This show doesn't take a knee. Let's get to 250, guys. Let's show everyone. Look at Prince. Ain't happening, Sills. Yeah. Just like Kurt's throwing for $4,000. Ain't happening. Come on, Brian. Hit the like button. Keep it here, National Football Show.
If you missed any of today's show on the JAKIB Media channel, listen to the podcast on your way home. Available on YouTube, Apple, and Spotify.